Good evening, beautiful people. Please stand by as I make sure that we are live everywhere. Hopefully, the Instagram feed is going live just as well. I just got a notification. I think we are good. All right.
Hello, pretty lady.
So, how is everybody doing
I'm
this
great.
evening?
I'm excited for tonight.
Yes, yes. So tonight is an exciting topic. First, to any and all of our viewers, as soon as they jump on, when you go live, sometimes it takes a second before it actually pops up on your notifications. And then it takes another second because Facebook makes you do the dance around to try to get to somebody's live. You
Right,
just can't click and go.
right.
It's ridiculous. But to all of our guests tonight, we have a special guest on the show. His name is Kareem. He is a personal friend of mine, and he has come to lend his opinion and his experience for tonight's trending topic. So, our topic today is Little Nas X. Okay, we've all seen him in the news. We've seen him in his videos. I mean, how do you miss the pregnant man? So, it's definitely the talk of the
Excuse the
town.
coughing in the background.
What's that?
Excuse the coughing in the background.
Oh, girl, you good, please. But for real, like, this man has been all over TV and social media. And tonight's topic, we kind of want to talk about, the movement that Little Nas X is in the midst of. Is it having a positive or a negative feedback or impact on the LGBTQ community? And, I understand this is a very sensitive topic, and we want to make sure that um, we appease everyone. And so, please, if you are viewing, this is a friendly, safe space, and we are simply just having conversation. Again, the whole point of our podcast is to talk about trending topics, to talk about everyday life that we are all involved in. So please, let's keep this peaceful. Okay. Okay. And
Can't
simply
promise you. Totally kidding.
simply, we are all just lending our own opinions and views, but we have looked up information, and so we do have facts as well. So it's not just solely based on opinion, but we want our audience to be able to chime in. You guys know the drill. You're watching us on social media, and so therefore, you got that little chat feature that you can go ahead and put in your opinions and your questions and comments. And of course, we try to involve you in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so um, let's let's talk a little bit, right, about Little Nas X. Now, I'm going to be candid with everyone. I always have my notes. Okay, I never want to talk out of turn, and I hate to sound ignorant. I mean, unless I'm telling a joke, and then that's a different story. But um, I want to start off the show with talking about a quote from Little Nas X, right? So he has his song, it's Dear 14-Year-Old Montero, right? And I want to point out what he said that is part of this movement that he's been making, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote a song. You guys are going to have to excuse me because I don't have a light in this corner, and your girl wears
No, you're fine. Like you look
glasses
great.
now, so.
Oh yeah.
But I want to be able to see the page, so I'm illuminating. Um, I wrote a song with our name in it. It's about a guy I met last summer. I know we promised to never come out publicly. I know we promised to never be that type of gay person. I know we promised to die with the secret, but this will open doors for many other queer people to simply exist. You see, this is very scary for me. People will be angry. They will say I'm pushing an agenda, but the truth is, I am. The agenda to make people stay the F out of other people's lives and stop dictating who they should be. Sending you love from the future. So, this is what Little Nas X wrote himself. He wrote to himself, to his younger self,
Mm-hmm.
his more confused self. Um, growing up at such a young age, we don't know life. We don't understand the feelings that we have and the things that we see. So, you know, um, I think this is a very educational piece, right?
Uh-huh.
We're speaking out to a community as a whole, not just one side of the community. We all need to educate ourselves, right? This is a topic that a lot of us don't really know a lot about. We just throw our own opinion out there and just say, like, that's what it is.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
This cannot be the case, right, guys? I mean, chime in with me here. Uh,
I mean, absolutely not. I think like as like he's writing to himself because he was definitely in a space where it was like a lot of confusion and he didn't have like that kind of he probably wasn't even aware of like what he was going through, but he knew it was different. So that's like totally relatable. But to have to be going through something different and you're not like in the environment where you actually have like some kind of mentor or even someone to even look up to in that particular sense, could be could become very dark when you get older,
Oh yeah.
or it could go one or two ways: go really dark, or you strive and become better. And which is what I see him doing. He is trying to make it relatable for those who couldn't even express themselves the way they wanted to, I believe. So that's
Gotcha.
my opinion on
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah. And as you're talking here, I have to take a step back. Sorry, Keisha, if you're going to say something next, but
Mm-hmm.
I have to take a step back and because I have to remember I'm so comfortable with the both of you because I talk with both of you.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to remember our audience does not know
Not,
Kareem.
yeah, true.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and should
Let's get a
I
proper
should
introduction.
rewind. Bring it back. um, I have to explain why Kareem is our special guest for tonight because
Oh yeah.
Kareem is he identifies as a gay black man,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to bring. I hope I don't say that wrong. Please, if I'm like not politically correct, just correct me. I can take it, but he is lending his personal experiences in life. And I mean, Keisha and I can only lend so much of an experience because we're just heterosexual women and we really don't understand the other lifestyle. We are open to the idea of it, but I wanted someone who is involved in the LGBTQ community to present their opinion. And
Oh
that's why Kareem is our special guest tonight.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um, I do want to also point out that Keisha had spoke with also a female who
Mm-hmm.
identifies as lesbian,
Mm-hmm.
and she lent her own advice and opinion to weigh in on this topic. So Keisha will be interjecting at certain points to
Mm-hmm.
share an opinion of a woman as well that is involved in this community. Unfortunately, we don't want to make anybody uncomfortable, so that's why she's not on camera with us today. But that's okay because not everybody is comfortable on the camera like us. I'm just talking to my
I'm just
friends.
getting there. Hopefully, I don't be like a deer in headlights.
No, no, girl, no. We brought it out in you. We good now.
Oh yeah. So many layers to this topic, especially when you're talking about the LGBTQ community.
Mm-hmm.
because you have different, I guess I don't want to say sex, like different fashions of it, because you
Mm-hmm.
have, gay gay people, transgenders, then you have the others, then it's so many different layers.
Mhm.
Of course. Of course. I'm still in the process of educating myself on
As
some
am
of
I,
these
as a
labels.
in the community. Like I'm still learning. Um, there's a lot to learn, and I think that's one of the things that I'm actually grateful for, especially in this time, because a lot of things didn't even exist when I was like growing up.
Mhm.
So, and then when you're hearing all these like new terms and, or maybe they weren't even new, but they're just new to me.
Mhm.
Uh, it's as long
Mhm.
as I keep an open mind, um, I won't necessarily have to agree with it, even as someone who's part of the LGBTQ community. But um, I find myself respecting it regardless because those are people who felt a certain way at a certain point, you know,
Mhm.
and they're just trying to express themselves the best way they can. Um, and for them to do that, apparently you have to create havoc to have that kind of attention. And do I agree with that entirely? No, but
Yeah.
like you have to push the envelope to for that to for that to happen. Yeah.
Agreed. Agreed.
Do you
You
think at
know.
times is a little confusing though? You know,
Mhm.
uh, it makes for a heterosexual looking in, kind of makes it confusing, because I just feel if you love somebody, you love somebody. Why we have to put all the labels? It's just like race. We
Mhm.
all the human race. You know, you get people. That's a whole different topic of the black subject. Because what is black? You got people with the same color in India, uh, Philippines, China.
It's
So then
everywhere.
what is black? So then it kind of confuses me a little bit with the different terms.
Yeah.
Um, and to me, like it used to confuse me as well. But what do you do when you're confused?
Mm.
You
Try to
educate
learn.
yourself and
Yeah.
you like
Mm-hmm.
put yourself in that uncomfortable environment
Yes.
for you to learn. Just like in school, you're confused. No one knew anything about Pythagorean theorem. Even I'm confused about it today. But
Right.
Math.
I had
I'm
to
still
apply
figuring it
myself
out.
to learn about it. And ooh, sorry, I had to apply myself to learn about it and to
Mhm.
make sure I get these grades right before my mom would beat my ass. You know,
For
like
real.
but that's just like what it really is. Like you really just have to apply yourself genuinely so
Hmm.
that you can actually understand it. Because once you go in the mindset of, oh, I don't get it, it
Hmm.
doesn't make any sense, then you don't want it to make sense. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
um,
You close
it's,
yourself off to
you
it.
close yourself off exactly, and you're not letting anything come through to you
Hmm.
to make any kind of sense.
No.
Uh,
You push off a negativity at that point because you
right,
don't understand it and you're not getting involved to try to understand it. You're
right.
only ever going to have a negative view towards it. And I mean, and then we can get into the whole thing of,
Oh,
you know, um,
so sorry, guys.
that's okay. Sometimes you trip and you fall. It's all right.
My
as long
thighs
as
too
you
big.
didn't, as long as you didn't drop your phone on your forehead, I mean, we're good.
Right?
I know. You still here. You knock yourself out. So you still here.
Yes, I know, right? We'll just continue the topic without you. It's all right. But it comes to the whole thing. Then, if you're not taking the time to educate yourself, um, if you have children,
Mhm.
how are you going to educate them?
Mhm.
And I what happens if your child identifies with this community and they decide that they like people of the same sex, or they turn out to be a transgender or something of that nature? How are you going to educate them?
Mhm.
You're now, what's the word, like, you're segregating yourself from your own family. So let's rewind a little bit.
Mhm.
So, the main trend that's going on right now. There's quite a few trends
Oh,
involving the community, but
mhm.
let's just start. with Little Nas X, right?
Mm.
So again, this man's face has been plastered everywhere. So it
Right.
started with Old Town Road, and we were like, oh, I like this song, until some people actually listened and then understood what the song was about.
Mhm.
And they were like, oh, yeah, we can't support this. And then, the whole
Which I
country,
find hilarious, by the way.
yes. So how people switched it up. It was on jukeboxes, and people was like, oh yeah, we doing this at the club. And then they was like, what?
Right,
We ain't playing the song anymore.
right.
Mhm.
But now he's gone to the extreme, like, oh, you wasn't trying to listen to that? Well, now I got something for you. And now he's having sex with the devil. So and then he turned up pregnant. Wait, what is going on? So Kareem, I wanna ask your opinion, but
Mhm.
um you are involved in the LGBTQ community. So I'm not saying those are your only friends, but obviously this is the community that you take part in.
Mhm.
Mhm.
In your view, and in the conversations that you've had with people that you know,
Mhm.
is his movement um, being taken as a positive or a negative to the community? And when I say his movement, um, obviously he's not really talking about having sex with the devil. I mean, obviously his videos and um, what he's trying to portray is just an extreme. Like his whole video of all of these barely clothed men, and it was very obvious that it was a sexual video. I mean, like he's
Yeah.
taken Cardi B and what she's done and has applied it to the community.
Mhm.
So, what type of impact is he having on the LGBTQ movement? Go
I
ahead.
think it's like a positive impact, if anything, more positive than negative. Not everyone actually agrees with it, but I think what he's doing by pushing the envelope, he's literally creating space for other artists to express themselves the way they choose to feel, or the way they choose fit. Um, I think how he's doing it. Um, at first, I didn't necessarily agree with it, but that was because I was not applying myself and understanding why and how he's doing it. But when I
Mm,
found out how he's doing it and why he's doing it, and I see the people reacting to it, I thought it was genius, you know?
yeah,
And it's only the closed-minded people who are just gonna be like, oh, that's just terrible, that's just awful. How you take it is only going to affect you that way, you know?
yeah,
Um, I'm not saying what he's doing is 1,000% right, like making out with the devil,
yeah. I mean, them scenes, I was like,
because
is that
you're
Cardi B?
literally
Like, what's
poking
going on?
different people with their different views, and
Mhm.
at the end of the day, if you don't like it, don't watch it. Like, like I'm not, I can't express that enough. Where if it shouldn't matter what he's doing anyway.
Mm,
If you like it, then enjoy it. If you don't, then you can totally turn the other cheek. It's not
agreed.
ruining your entire day. You still have to go to work. You
Oh
still
yeah.
have to pay your taxes. You still have
Exactly.
to pay that credit, you know?
If you're
But
into that sort of thing,
if
yeah.
you're right, but like at the end of the day, it's just I think it's low key genius. I think it's is it necessary? Not entirely, but I don't see any other way, you
Yeah.
know? Other people have tried to express themselves the most quietest way in poems, in like little short stories, or he's just taking it in a way where he's able to, and he's going to take advantage of it, and as he should, and he has every right to.
Agreed.
That's one of my things. Is it genuine? And what is he doing for the community? You know, is he just lining his pockets while using the community? Or is it really something genuine that he's doing? Because like you said, he went from Old Town Road to now I'm having sex with the devil.
Well,
And
Old Town Road was always a song of a particular song until it was revealed such. Then it became now Old Town Road. So that's really up to you. Perception is basically everything.
But what about the thing with the devil? Like that's kind of going to the extreme. Like, you know, you have other artists, Elton John, George Michael. I remember him from Wham.
Girl,
I mean, would
he's gonna have my hair like him
right.
from Wham, you know?
Right.
So, you know, and you have I had his name here. Another rapper, I can't remember his name off the back, but it'll come to me.
Okay.
Ocean.
Oh yeah.
Ocean.
Okay. Frank
Ocean. You know, they were out there. What? And everyone knows he's gay. Everyone's communicated with him, collaborated with him, and did stuff with him. My thing with Little Nas is this a gimmick? And don't use the community as a gimmick.
I say you should take everything for face value. If it's a gimmick, then I'm pretty sure it'll come to light to show that it's a gimmick. I believe in seeing the positive out of it first, and then when the receipts start to come out that the negatives are there, then you believe that. Just like nobody's guilty. Wait, everyone's innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
Same concept, kind of. So
in America.
Yeah. I don't know if that really
that's for a different night.
I don't know if it applies to everyone, but that's what they say.
Right.
Well, I mean, go ahead.
Sorry, but to answer your question about like the devil, I mean, would you rather him be with like Tinkerbell?
No, I would rather him see nice, another handsome young man holding hands, showing affection. You know, that would have been okay.
He did that. Yeah,
you know,
I agree.
It was a little extreme because you know, I think what really is getting me is that part, and also the pregnancy part, and like I guess they were advertising it. It was advertised on like TikTok and stuff and things where younger kids could see it. Now we as parents, we do monitor the stuff, and my daughter kept asking me about pregnancy in the male. And it was kind of hard because she's 7, so it was kind of hard to explain it to her, you know. And even with some things with Cardi B in them, is hey, you know, don't talk about pops and stuff, you know, because my daughter would eat pops. But like you said, you can't close it out. Don't listen to it. But I just feel sometimes with him is gimmicky. Like Billy Porter, love Billy Porter. Yeah, Billy Porter with skirts and everything. Little eyes.
Billy Porter be doing it better than me, and I'm like,
but like Billy Porter and context are two totally different, and there's like, just like there's a variety in the heterosexual world, you know, there's a variety in the gay world. Like some people would want to wear skirts and dresses and couture. Some want to wear plaided shirts and a tank top, or others want to wear tutus. But it's just like there's different people with different ways to express themselves, and at the end of the day, they're just trying to express themselves the way they feel comfortable. And if it makes you uncomfortable and it's eyesore-ing, then you can always keep them shut. You know, but it's not to say like I feel like if it's not harming you physically, then you should be, oh my God, you should be totally fine with if it's not harming you physically, you should be totally fine with how someone is able to express themselves. Although there's a right time and place for everything. Like I'm not gonna be wearing a tutu in front of a Catholic church, or even though Catholic church do have a history of you know what, but that's just a different topic. But it's back to the whole devil thing. Um, what if it was a moose?
Yeah.
I think it was
It
just
would have been more acceptable. Like
no,
you would have enjoyed it more.
no, it's like for instance, people have
No.
conceptions about the gay community and promiscuity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So when you do that, it makes them think, okay, this is what we thought of them, and so and so. It's different than, like I said, showing a different type of infection. Like if you
Hmm.
see two gay dads and they're taking care of their kid and there's affection and love, and opposed to seeing him doing what he was doing, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, why can't you just get a cute guy and like, rap to the guy.
But
Yeah.
that's how you would have. So basically, you're saying that's how you would have expressed yourself if you were a gay man and you felt is acceptable.
Yeah, I think it's
That's
just
basically what you're saying, right?
kind of. I think it's just a little bit too extreme. Like I said, for instance, Cardi B and them. Some of the things with them is just too extreme.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, I used to sneak. Now late at night, I ain't supposed to be up. It was Carol Burnett and then Benny Hill. Now
Mm.
Benny Hill, we thought was something. You
So
watching Benny
was.
Hill, you like, oh shoot,
You
oh,
know?
this guy,
Right.
oh my goodness. you know, even with even some things with heterosexual stuff, things sometimes are going too far.
Yeah.
It's going too far. We got to have some type of balance because our kids, and I'm pretty sure our parents said it about us, but I really see such a difference between our parents, our grandparents, and us.
Hmm.
Well, yeah, because it's also a different time. Technology is different. Back when our grandparents were doing their thing and getting busy,
Yeah.
like, have you seen those VHS tapes back in the day? They weren't far from the City Girls. They just looked like J.C. Penney City Girls.
Uh-huh.
Right
Pretty
now,
much.
today, they're a lot more luxurious. They're still there. It's a lot more. You could see it a lot more today because there's access to camera. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
great grandmothers, when they were telling you these stories about like how that you probably used to be hot pockets and having a
Mm.
whole good time, you couldn't see it, but you
No.
would hear the story from them,
There's no
or
proof.
like they're how would they know what happens after midnight is never a good thing,
Yeah.
because they were a part of that. They were a part of that whole crew, and they didn't want you to be a part of that whole crew.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know, clubs are
Yeah.
totally different today because back in the day it was probably one red light. Now that we got laser beams, and then people are gonna get like,
One
it's
red
just
light.
right. It's the same shit, different toilet. It
Mhm.
really
Yeah.
is. And like gay men have always been there. Gay men have
From the
always
beginning of
been,
time.
huh?
I said from the beginning of the time.
From the
Yeah.
beginning of time. And it some cultures it was praised and some others it was ignored and some others it was hated, but it was always there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But now we're in America where it's kind of like a, depending which city you're in, it's a melting pot,
Yeah.
and instead of like a culture it becomes a race, or um it's just, the point I'm trying to make is it's always been there, and the
Yeah.
fact that now it's on camera, it's shocking, but
Yeah.
you've always heard it.
Well, yeah.
If you didn't, let's say Little Nas X came out back when our grandparents came out, they would
Mhm.
have thought he was some kind of voodoo priest.
Well, they had
You know
Little Richard.
what happened?
Little Richard was there.
Yeah. Hmm.
Who's that?
Little Richard.
Little Richard.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Slap yourself now. Google him later, please. Do yourself a favor, okay?
Oh,
Who's Little Richard?
Okay.
all of them were all, they've always been there. But here's my thing, and my father always says this, and like I said about even just being a part of just human race, because I don't even like, there's really no term of race, but we could do that on another topic.
Yes, we can.
Just
Look forward to the future.
yes,
Count me in.
Hey.
It's just the whole thing about race, and being and just being human. You
Yeah.
know, like I said, if you like who you like, fine. And my dad always say, okay, everybody always say, I'm coming out the closet. The closet's in your bedroom, right? Or in your house. We lost
Yeah.
Kareem?
I think we lost him, but he'll be back. It's okay. We can continue.
You know, they said the closet is in your bedroom or in your house or wherever you have your closet, but that's in your personal space.
Yes.
When you come outside, no one has to know what you do in your bedroom. And I'm trying to figure out, and I'm trying to wrap around my head, because a lot of people have this perception of what gay is.
Mm-hmm.
Gay doesn't mean you have to act effeminate. Gay doesn't mean you have to uh, wear certain different clothes. It's, to me, it's just on the person that you love. You love the person that's maybe of the same sex. You know, I don't.
True.
Sometimes I have problems wrapping my head around that whole
Gay,
concept.
but here's the thing: gay men are not like. I mean, not in time. When I say gay men, I'm speaking for those who can relate. Like, we're not the ones like making things about sex. It's you
Mhm.
guys. Like, I will never forget. I went to a
A
water
little
park.
nice.
I went to a water park, and I saw there was like these group of gay men, right?
Mhm.
And I was with my family, and then there were like these Jamaican Caribbeans on the other side, and they witnessed these like couple gay men who happened to be flamboyant and some weren't, you know,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
then they were shocked that he's going into the pool. And I'm
Yeah.
like, why is he shocked that he's going into the pool? Is
Yeah.
because they think because you do anal that the water is gonna go.
Are you serious?
I'm not even kidding. So when
Wow.
when I witnessed that, I was like, wow, the ignorance behind that. No,
Yes.
and it wasn't like a joke. They were just genuinely shocked, like jaw dropped. And I'm
Yeah.
like, you guys, if only have applied yourself, even
Yeah.
as like
Just a little.
just just a little bit,
Oh yeah.
just applied yourself in learning anatomy, and that's not even gay. you
Well,
know,
yeah.
to
But
know
were they
that.
going to turn gay because they were in the same water together? Like, what are we talking
So
about?
one of them was like afraid to get in the water because she thought like the water would turn a certain color, or it was
If you
just like
didn't pee
little
in the
things.
pool, I mean,
And then,
stop.
mind you, I'm just like, your husband could be very DL, and he's in that
Mm,
water with you, boo boo. But
Oh
stop.
wow.
that's
His
a
water might
choice,
turn.
you
Just
know.
saying.
But it's again, it's those people who either choose to be ignorant
Yeah.
and want to make it a thing, and we really don't make it a thing. We literally are minding our own business. You guys are the ones, well, not when I say you guys, not you two, or
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
like,
I
these
know what you're saying.
heterosexual people are the
Yeah.
ones who are applying themselves in our business and mind a business that pays you.
Mhm.
Well,
um
you're also passing judgment.
Mhm.
right,
That's
they're
the
passing.
problem.
And then
That's the problem.
yeah, that's true. I agree.
You know, I want to point out um, from what you said before.
Hmm.
So Keisha had asked about, well, she had made the statement that you don't have to be flamboyant or feminine acting out in public. But I'm playing devil's advocate, and yes, I use that word devil because is the topic also.
Hmm.
But I want to play devil's advocate. So there are some women
Mhm.
that are heterosexual. I'm just talking about the heterosexual
Hmm.
community right now. There are
Mhm.
some women that are very feminine,
Mhm.
where they do their hair up, their makeup is always done, caked
Yes.
on. They wear nothing but dresses and heels and what
Mhm.
sweatpants, you
Hmm.
know? Um, they are done up 24/7 and like, oh girl, touch that. Oh my God. You
Hmm.
know, and then you have um, some women that grew up as tomboys and they're ready to fix somebody's car and let's go build this clubhouse for the kids. Like,
That's totally fine, right?
exactly. So we have all of these different. types of women that are amongst the heterosexual community.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't we have the same spectrum on the gay community? I
Mm-hmm.
don't understand.
Can I
There
ask
are
that? No,
different
because I
levels.
want to ask her, when you see a woman who's very butch, meaning like she's like a tomboy. I don't like to use the term tomboy because
Mm-hmm.
it. I don't know. I grew up like learning that's not actually something.
Yeah,
Um,
I get it. But
but
I stated myself as a
yeah,
tomboy growing up because I did boyish things
Mm-hmm.
even though I was a girl. And we were taught that only boys do this and only
right,
girls do that.
right,
You
Right.
know, so that's where I use the word, the term, because
mhm,
I identified as it.
right.
Right.
But go ahead. I'm
But
sorry.
when you see a
Mm-hmm.
tomboy,
Mm-hmm.
why aren't you thinking anything sexual? Like, why does it? Why is it when it comes to a
You know,
gay man, you're like, oh, this is something sexual, but when you see a tomboy, you're like, oh, they just like balls.
no,
Like,
it's not even that. It's the community. Even like if I seen, I guess I call it a butch lesbian.
uh-huh.
Okay. My thing is the whole thing is not about being a certain sexual thing. It's about just the person that you love. So it's not why every time we see someone is the package of like okay, some people say if they see a gay man acting a certain way, he's not acting like a woman, he's acting like a gay man,
Mm,
you know.
Or he's
yeah.
acting like himself.
That could
Because
be
there are a lot of straight men who are flamboyant,
Mm,
mm-hmm,
and then
mm,
turn out to be he has to label himself as metrosexual when
mm-hmm,
all actuality he's just being himself. But because of the toxic masculinity
mm-hmm,
here, especially here in America, it's
mm-hmm,
like um he has to find himself to be labeled.
mm-hmm.
I, I'm sorry I keep interrupting, but
No,
I have for example, I have a cousin. He's very Christian. When I say Christian,
mm-hmm,
yeah.
he's very Christian, okay? And he's
Gotcha.
very straight.
Mm,
And because he folds his socks,
mm-hmm,
some girl was like, are you a metrosexual?
oh wow.
Because he folds his socks. Now, because of her ignorance, because she's always been exposed to guys who are like dogs and don't really take care of themselves, all because he folded his socks, he's considered metrosexual. Not
Mm.
because he gets his toes done, because he doesn't. But
Exactly.
it's
Okay.
just that kind of like idea. It's really all about what you're exposed to and what you're willing to expose yourself
yeah,
to understand.
to me it's not the grooming or it's not the the other issues or stuff that you're saying. It's the fact that it's always perceived as when we see a lesbian that's butch or a man that's effeminate or flamboyant. Oh, this is the gay thing. This is the gay thing. But to me, being gay or a lesbian doesn't have nothing to do with those type of how do you
Mannerisms.
say it?
Mannerisms.
Yes, it don't have to do with none of that. It's just the person that you love. You love someone that's the same sex. That's it.
Yeah.
Again,
You know?
the gays, I promise you, are not the ones who are like, oh, this is a gay thing. You
Mhm,
this is the heterosexual
mhm,
people are like, this is a gay thing. And all actuality, it's not a gay thing. It's just a
mhm,
thing that has to
Exactly.
that
We,
happens to be predominantly in the gay world.
yeah.
mhm.
But
Okay.
society
And then
slapped that
eventually in
label.
time,
But that's my
like
question. Why?
what
Mhm.
Why is
happened?
why is it predominantly there? I
You
don't
guys
Because
make it that way. Like
okay.
society.
for example, to like even get in gay terminology, I just love for today, what was it? Um, like now I hear these thugs and straight men going, "Oh, it's the hat for me,"
Mm, mm,
you know, and I'm like, "Is
yeah.
it for you?" like, like, but you're also homophobic. But not to say like there's a gay lingos only used for like gay men,
Yeah.
but it's like it's kind of like a double standard. Eventually, it becomes a thing. Now you hear like some thugs being like, "Okay, sis," and I'm like, "Who
Mm,
you sissing? Do you know where sis actually
exactly.
came from?"
Bro.
And like you've never like even if you read the comments, like let's say online, in certain comments on like let's say the shade room, let's say, you'll see these like men talk about like have a seat, sis, and you look at his page, he's part of the Crips, or like
Yeah.
he's just like
Well, we're pointing out the whole fact of how gay ideals
right,
have been brought into the heterosexual world. Let's point out um, the prison life. Wearing, sagging your pants off your butt was because gay men were offering it up. This was not a heterosexual ideal. This was, oh, fashion trend, but this is where it came from.
so from what I understood about sagging pants
Hmm.
was, at first it was like, I could be wrong, but it
Yeah.
determined what part
I'll
of like,
correct you because I worked in a prison.
okay,
Yeah.
it
That's why I
wasn't it
brought it
at
up.
first, from what I understand, wasn't it at first uh a way to determine someone if they were part of a gang or not, and
No,
then it became such.
no. From what I was told, and any correction officers that's out there listening, chime
Mm,
in. It was because they used to take away the belts. Sometimes people would hang themselves with the belts, and it would take
mm,
away the belts. So you're taking away their belts, the pants is sagging.
yeah.
Okay,
So
okay.
it was a restraint from people hanging themselves and so forth like that.
Hmm.
Hmm.
You know.
But then it
Gotcha.
became like something else, and then eventually it evolves into something else.
Yeah.
Just like uh like you were mentioning earlier, when this guy, you're saying someone is being flamboyant
Mm-hmm.
and he
Hmm.
wants to act like Beyonce.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know Beyonce's not acting like a gay man?
Mm,
Because her
mm.
choreographer is a gay man. You
Yeah.
know, her
Exactly.
hairdresser is a gay man. You know,
Yeah.
she's literally a gay god that the straights are loving. Because,
Uh-huh.
Yes.
like, truthfully, her hair is done by a gay man. Her outfits could be done by a gay man. I know her choreography are most likely done by a gay man. Her walking like that is by Jonta. I will never forget. Um, he was like one of the very first gay men to like wear heels, and it was showing up on the internet, and it became a thing. But
Yeah.
then, like, 15 minutes of fame went away, and he's no longer the choreographer for Beyonce. It's like, who's that? But it's
Gotcha.
just, it baffles me a lot when they're like, oh, he wants to act like Beyonce. It's like, well, Beyonce took notes from us, and y'all love it.
Yes.
But it's just little things like that. And
I gotcha.
if they had applied themselves and learning that that's where she came from, then they
Yeah.
would understand, well, the gay culture has a lot to do with a lot of America, especially when it comes to like beauty, hair, choreography, entertainment.
Yeah.
Boom Boom Cat was not from like um a straight person. Boom, like even the terminology when it comes to like 5, 6, 7, 8, and what, like it's literally like where is it coming from?
Yes.
But
You know?
my whole thing is I don't want there to be any stereotype. Just like for race, I don't want a stereotype. So when I see someone who's in that community, I just
Right.
want the person to be known as this. These people love these people. Just like when
Hmm.
somebody see me, I don't want you to see my skin color. I'm not black. My skin is
Okay.
not black. So don't perceive me as that. Just see me as, oh, that's a woman. She's nice, so and so. And the same thing when I see people in the gay community. I don't want to perceive them as gay people supposed to do this, they're supposed to do that. You just love that person and that's it.
Yeah.
That's the perception that I want to have.
I would
Hmm.
love that too,
Yeah. Hmm.
but
Yeah.
it's gonna take a lot of work, and it's gonna take like a whole different generation for them not to. What are you guys laughing at? What I do?
I'm sorry.
Have some asking some questions here.
I'm looking at
Oh, I see.
Latoya's comment. I
Oh, I
want to. I want to put a pin in it for just a second because I don't want Natoya to think that we're ignoring her. Girl,
Yes.
I see all your comments coming up and I'm looking for my, like, I feel like I'm about to double dutch or something to get your comments in.
oh, I see
um,
now. Okay.
okay.
I
But
was completely ignoring it so I wouldn't get distracted, because
no, I got you. I told
but
you I'm going to work those in the show, but I want to jump back just a second. So remember your thought.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but Natoya had commented earlier um, on women expressing themselves. So she says it's a lot more over sexualization now, though. Women have become fearless in expressing what they want, how they want, and where they want it. Yes, and I think that was her comment to us talking about Cardi B and Megan the Stallion and
Right.
how they are perceived. And then we did the comparison to Little Nas X,
Mm-hmm.
bringing that type of swagger into the gay community in his videos and I guess his everyday, because he be tweeting and but I let me finish her comments because I want to go back to his crazy. Um, but she also said, well, she was just agreeing with a lot of what we were saying, but she she wrote balls, and I was like, what
And
is that all about? But then she said sorry from the ballroom scene. Yes, but it was funnier when she said balls.
oh God.
um, Pierre, yes, I know they are two different extremes. They are not the same. So, but it's the same perspective.
Right.
Categorizing how Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion have pushed the limits of how videos are seen on everyday occurrences. Little Nas X has taken that extreme and it applied it to the community. So I want to jump back. Oh, he was answering Kareem. Okay, gotcha. Um, I want to jump back to the whole devil perception because I don't want to lose that as we do progress through the conversation.
Mhm.
So you were saying, why the devil?
Mhm.
Um, we've had a conversation, a personal conversation with Kareem, and we talked, and I know there was a comment that was kind of thrown out there that Little Nas X is running through walls, like he's kicking down these walls to allow the rest of the gay community to walk through.
Mm-hmm.
So he is taking this extreme ideal of sexual videos.
Mm-hmm.
If you take your typical heterosexual male that is completely against the gay community, like he don't want to see it, he don't want to hear it, he don't want to know nothing about it. He has his own negative opinion and view. To him, the ideal of a male sleeping with another male, because women sleeping with each other is not held in the same at the same level. So we'll get back to that.
Yeah.
But a male sleeping with another male or being sexual at all is basically the devil's work. So his extreme is like, what better extreme to use than having sex with the devil? You're doing wrong. It's not in God's eyes. This is something I never want to see. Who really wants to see anybody having sex with the devil? No, thank you. But he's making this absurdity to a particular view. We lost Kareem again, but he'll be back. Um, Sorry, guys. He is not home. And because he's not home, the connection may be lost here and there. So we'll,
I'm
we'll
back.
deal with it. But he is taking this absurdity and he's applying it because if you are not into, like, I guess I please spare my lack of words. If people are viewing this extreme, they'll accept the norm. They'll accept the basic standard more so. And I know a way to make it relatable and to compare it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's talk about Martin Luther King. He kicked down doors to help end segregation, and feminism happened to allow women the right to vote and to have equal pay. That's another
And you
topic.
women still don't. Like still, and that's the sad part. You
Mm-hmm.
guys still don't. You
Yeah.
guys been fighting for how many years? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It took one trifling hoe to like go crazy to get attention. And
Yes.
then if it wasn't for her,
Yeah.
then there wouldn't be someone else like, you know what? Yeah, I feel that way too. I need equal pay, Then it would have been like, it wouldn't have multiplied as much as it did. So because
Exactly.
of that one person who was badgering on that door, trying to kick it open, they might not
Mm-hmm.
open it, but someone else will because that door is getting weaker and weaker by the minute.
Yes.
I
Yes.
always find movements. There's always been movements throughout time. Like some people could say, as a male, Liberace, Little Richard kicked down doors. They could
Correct.
say, you know, um,
So did Prince.
Prince. Oh, that's a
yeah, he was
perfect topic.
heterosexual, but he dressed, I guess, what they call effeminate.
Inclusive.
Exactly.
Huh?
He, oh, he lost again, but that's okay. Prince could be labeled as a metrosexual because he is very much in touch with his feminine side. I can see Prince getting his nails done. Obviously, he got his hair did. Um,
Mm-hmm.
he wore all those ruffles and everything, had his butt hanging out of his pants,
Chaps.
caused
Yeah.
controversy. You know, not for nothing, things that Prince was doing and
Mm-hmm.
how he was holding himself.
Mm-hmm.
Let's compare to Shakespeare having men play women parts.
Boom.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, let's compare. Um, we had presidents back in the day, 1700s, wearing powdered wigs.
Mm-hmm.
Why? You know what I'm saying? That was a womanly thing to do. And we had a whole Egyptian civilization that
Mm-hmm.
men were wearing makeup and skirts and bedazzling themselves. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
you know, this was all acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
So why today, now that being gay is identified, being lesbian is identified, all of this whole community now has a voice. There's
Mm-hmm.
somebody backing it. There's somebody pushing for awareness. Why is this so shocking if this has existed since the start of time?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Obviously, like over time, like time has changed, and um, I, I really think where um, when it comes to like Little Nas X, or all these other artists, let's say, you make it as deep as you want it. I grew up watching The Cosby.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yes.
nothing like him. You know what I'm saying? You know, I growing up, for example,
Mm-hmm.
um, I hadn't witnessed guys wearing makeup, but I remember seeing a guy wearing makeup, and he was actually straight. He was wearing makeup because he was hiding his pimples, and he was putting
Mm,
concealer on. So he was like, "This is not makeup. This is concealer." So I grew up thinking like, "Oh, it's concealer. It's not makeup." But but because of the
yes.
toxic masculinity behind it, he he was trying to make it okay, and that was his way of making it okay. And then it was at that moment I was like, okay, you make it as deep as you want it to be.
Yeah.
And if, for example, we're bringing back the devil, if
Hmm.
you were offended because um he was making out with the devil or anything, and like you said, you would have preferred not to be the devil. That was his way of expressing yourself. Look at you and the shirt you're wearing, the sweater you're wearing, and your hair and your lip
Hmm.
gloss. You chose to express it. But I would have preferred a red lipstick. I would have preferred
I
a
was
different
red too.
shadow. But I'm saying that's how you chose to express yourself, and it's the same thing. You
Yeah.
know, not everyone's going to agree with it. You know, I
Yeah.
might. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder at the end of the day, and
Correct.
if you are comfortable enough to receive it, then you're comfortable enough to accept it.
Correct.
My thing with Nas is, and it's not that I can't see things and I can't accept it. It's just the fact that, is it genuine or is he gimmicky? Like
You
if
I
think
it's
it's
think it,
gimmicky,
yeah,
I
and
think
that's
it could be a
fine.
little bit of both.
yeah. When you see Tiana Taylor, we all know Tiana Taylor go both ways, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we know that. When I see, like you said, Frank Ocean, I know what Frank Ocean is about. You know,
Yeah.
it's pretty much out there. Like to me, it's like, are you trying to match a hit that you might not be able to match again, and then you're using the gay community to do that? You know, so that's a problem for me. You know,
Okay.
that's how
So
I
you
see it with him.
so you think like basically he's taking advantage of this whole thing, and it's not necessarily genuine.
Yeah, just like,
Um,
okay, I'm gonna go to, now I'm not a Democrat and I'm a Republican. I'm neither or. But this how Democrats do with black people. It's the same thing.
let's be very honest.
Mm-hmm.
I think, oh, this is gonna be really bad if I say this, but
Go ahead.
I think Little Nas X
Mm-hmm.
is definitely a lot more genuine than Beyonce,
I'll agree with that statement.
because she's not using these gay, like Little Nas X is not using these gay men to express himself the way
Mm-hmm.
Beyonce is. You automatically think a flamboyant man that wants to be Beyonce, you know, and then when you see someone like, you're not thinking like a flamboyant man wants to be like Lil Nas X.
It's not about being Beyonce. It's about, why do we have to perceive that in order to say this person loves this person? That's my thing. I don't have to perceive a female that's butch to say, oh well, she likes you know, other females. It's
So,
just
but
this.
at like, as a Black woman,
Mm-hmm.
you're a lot more, it's also like weird because I would say you're a lot more comfortable with a butch lesbian in front of your kids as opposed to a flamboyant guy.
No, that's not true. I'm not. I don't have a problem with flamboyant guys. It's
No,
not. I don't have a problem with them. The
I
thing
don't
is,
but
think he meant you.
yeah.
I don't think he
no,
meant
not
you.
you. I'm saying
Oh,
like in
oh, you
general,
mean
like,
in general, black
In
because
women?
every
general.
Black woman wants, like I said, wants a gay best friend, but never a gay son,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And they just never actually, it's like the stigma behind it. It's like there's a shame behind it for some reason that you have. And then uh, a Black woman much rather have a butch daughter than a flamboyant son in a
Yeah.
heartbeat, because at
True.
least you feel like, not you,
Mm-hmm.
Black woman,
Mm-hmm.
feel, oh, the butch daughter will actually care
I think when,
herself. But it's like, you think, I remember speaking, and she told me,
mhm.
she was like, she much rather have a butch daughter than a flamboyant gay son, because she feels as though if she wasn't there to protect her child, that butch daughter would be able to take care of herself way better than a gay son. I mean, a flamboyant son.
Mhm. I want to interject just for a moment because we have a lot of comments. I'm going to go back just a little bit.
Who is this guest?
Um,
Oh, Pierre. Pierre, my name is Kareem.
yes, Kareem is coming on because, well, I'll let you state why you are here as our guest today. How do you portray yourself, Kareem? He'll be back. Um, but I want to go back for just a second. So, Pierre had, give me, Kareem, please introduce yourself again so people understand why you are our guest today.
My name is Kareem, and I'm a close friend of Tina,
Mhm.
and I'm also a Black gay man in America, um, who's a descendant from the Caribbean.
Exactly. And so Kareem brings a wealth of knowledge from different perspectives.
Mhm.
Being a gay black man of Caribbean descent in America, um, there's a lot that you can weigh in on that. But I digress.
Mhm.
Let me talk about what's in the comments. So Pierre talked about the Lil Nas X pregnant antics is inexcusable. Nope, do not put Martin in this. We was Martin 1 million years ago. Hello. Listen, we understand that the two movements are completely
Caribbean is an
different.
island,
They're completely
not a
different ideals.
hold
Mhm.
on. Pierre, the Caribbean is a group of islands.
I know that's
Sorry.
fine. That's fine, Kareem. So listen here.
Okay.
The comparison to Martin is because of a movement, and that's the only comparison that we're making. We did say at the top of the show that this is just an open discussion and a safe
Right.
zone.
Mhm.
So we are not pushing our agenda and we are not pushing our opinion. We are stating factual information that you can compare Little Nas's Little Nas X's movement to break down barriers. He is making an extreme to allow the gay community to be seen as normal. That's it.
Right.
Now, Martin had a movement that he brought to the extreme to allow the black community to be considered normal because you're no different than any other color in in the world.
Mhm.
So again, why should gay be different than straight? We are all human beings. So again, just specifically touching on the movements
Mm.
and where he is gaining a voice for his community. That's it. Now, his antics of what he does, some will agree with, some will not. But there were antics from feminism, there were antics from Malcolm X and from Martin Luther King that were also not acceptable across the board. I'm for the movement, but the next person may not be.
Mhm.
Um, did Cardi or Megan exhibit penises? Why do you think Little Nas exhibiting pregnancy is similar to Cardi or Megan? I was actually referencing Little Nas X's video where he basically brought out naked men, and I was comparing that to the extreme of Cardi and Megan being overly provocative, humping the ground in barely nothing to wear. Um, Again, it's extreme. If we go back to the 80s, Two Live Crew was trying to push the bar back then with allowing any kind of sexuality to be visualized on TV. I
Mhm.
mean, let's talk about Madonna, where she actually was sexualizing her video and they only played it on MTV after dark, like really after midnight, because
Right.
they assumed all children would be sleeping and parents would be monitoring their kids.
Mhm.
What Madonna did then is nothing compared to what Cardi and Megan are doing today.
If Madonna didn't kick that door, then Cardi and Megan wouldn't be able to come up with that kind of video for sure.
Agreed. Agreed.
But I
They
think there's
made it
always,
acceptable.
yeah, I think there's always been, because even with, like when we was talking about Little Richard and Liberace and Mom's Mabley, and there's been other, I can't remember her name. Uh,
Mhm.
they did the movie with her with Chadwick Boseman. That was a real person.
Oh yes.
She was. But there's always been
Yeah.
those
Viola
examples.
Davis played her. I can't remember the name.
Yeah, there's always been. So I don't.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't understand the even in with the whole black thing as well. Sometimes I don't understand the kicking down the door thing because it's always been people chipping, 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 chipping. You
Yeah.
know,
Just to be accepted.
yeah,
That's it. And
yeah.
why are we hating on someone who's different than this, one type of human being society? We are not one type of person. There is no one type of person that exists. We all have differences of opinion. We all like different things. We That's what individualizes us.
But
Hmm.
that gets back to my question because I see from Pierre and Toya.
Uh-huh.
You know, Tina, you good with
Well, can I
reading?
just comment on this? Like,
Yeah,
where
come
like back to like Lil Nas X, as someone who was raised in Haiti up until ninth grade, and trying to figure out my sexuality, I knew it was different, and it made people. I knew it was different, which made me feel like it was wrong. Um, I wish there was someone that explicit, not because I want to be like them, but because then I could recognize, oh, well, I must be somewhat of this because I've
on.
always felt this way growing up. Not
Yeah.
because I was inspired by someone or molested by someone or turned by someone, but because I've always felt that way. But because I was in the environment where it was primarily heterosexual, not to say I would have
That
participated
you know
at,
of,
I'm sorry,
Mhm.
heterosexual that you know of
that's
Yeah.
that I knew of.
openly.
If
Yeah.
let's say there was a little Nas X around my time growing up in Haiti, I'm
Hmm.
pretty sure I would have had a friend to talk to.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with sex. You know, a
Exactly.
friend to talk to when you're becoming emotional and you're not sure why you're feeling that way. You're learning about all these like uh let's say if you were educated in sex, because not everyone has to talk. You know, I realize that not every parent is going to talk to their kids regarding the birds and the bees,
Yeah.
but um I remember learning about the birds and the bees, and I was "Mm." Like kind of like I saw broccoli on my plate. You know, and
Yeah.
like I'm not into that, and I can tell my parents were probably uncomfortable talking about it because I gave that face. Then
Yeah.
you have a cousin who's like, "Oh yeah, let's learn more about that," you know,
Yeah.
and I'm over here looking at it like a plate of broccoli. Um,
Exactly.
it's just if there was more exposure uh in terms of not entirely like Lil Nas X, but I'm saying if there was like something where he had that kind of exposure where at the end of the day, everyone's talking about it. And you know what's happening? Someone who's not exposed to it is going to hear about it and is probably
Hmm.
going through it and is going to be like, oh, wow, well, I'm not entirely like this, but I can relate to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got you. I'm going to interject again to get through some of the comments.
Hmm.
Um, so Pierre had, well, let me go back to Natoya. She had said, "Man, Cosby didn't do anything wrong. Quaaludes are equivalent to marijuana in Casamigos today." Facts. um, Pierre had stated, um, "There are women who flame and are ridiculed by it. No one gets crazy. A gay person is flaming and is ridiculed now. It's a problem. You're against guys." Um, there are a lot of women that get ridiculed for being gay or lesbian or however you want to identify as. Um, it's just, how do I say this? I'd probably say more of the masculine women are ridiculed because it is not the heterosexual ideal.
Hmm.
Um, you know, the community is okay with seeing very feminine women on very feminine women, and don't want to see anything masculine
Hmm.
um, in that situation. So I can't agree with that statement. It's on both sides. Um, Natoya said Nas X is a troll, and he isn't. breaking down any doors, because I don't think gay artists are blocked from anything. So what doors is he breaking down? um, Not saying that the gay community doesn't have some sort of platform. At this point in time, they have more of a platform than they did, let's say, in the 80s. Um,
Or even 10 years ago.
exactly. They have their own freaking network at this point,
Hmm.
but there were people who had to push down those doors.
Hmm.
What Little Nas X is trying to do at this point is, again, he's still pushing the movement because there are still people who are not comfortable with the ideal of someone's sexuality being different than theirs, than what society has brainwashed us into believing throughout our lives, that it's only a man and it's only a woman. Um, he is taking things to the extreme. So something as simple as two men holding hands walking down the street is more acceptable. Um,
Well, different cultures
but
do
we're
that.
going to skip
They
over
do
those
like
because, huh?
yeah, that's saying in different cultures, like my sister's been to Dubai and stuff like that, and
Hmm.
men hold hands in the mall.
Yeah,
Hmm.
they do.
You know,
I was shocked
yeah,
when
Yeah.
like
yeah.
I I was like, you was just with your wife, but like,
Part of that culture, that's what they do. I don't
that's
know.
literally what they do.
Yeah.
Like,
So, um, I just don't want to, like, you had mentioned something about you wish you would have had the friend to talk to and it had nothing to do with the sexual part. That's the part where I'm more into, and that's why I said with the person acting butch or the person acting this way,
Hmm.
just make it about who you love and leave it at that, and
Exactly.
like I don't want to see two heterosexuals going at it. It's like,
Yeah.
get a room.
right.
Exactly. Exactly.
It
Exactly.
goes,
Can I
it
tell you
goes
like a
both
short
ways.
little story where like how I ended up like finding a family member who
Mhm.
happened to be gay as well.
Yeah.
Um, he's like we hung out all the time. We played
Hmm.
soccer, we played volleyball, like we were like the most athletic in our family. And
Hmm.
it was I would have never thought he was. I mean, today, yes, but like back then, I would have never thought he was um, gay. But it took like a moment of uh, one of us being vulnerable because we were just so confused as to like why we felt that way because we were raised that it was wrong, okay?
Hmm.
Especially in a Haitian culture.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I can imagine just as in the Jamaican culture, it's just very like looked down upon. Like in Jamaican songs, everything is about like gay men. And I'm
Yeah.
like, you guys are homophobes, but every verse has like Bati Boy on it, you know?
Yeah.
But it's just like a different topic. Um
Yeah. They
it
keep bringing
like
attention to it, but they don't want to
right,
talk about it.
Mhm.
like come on.
Yeah.
like but it's just to like to show could you have imagined like I have a cousin, okay, he's way older than me, and he is struggling just as I'm struggling, and the way we found out was because we were vulnerable and we let go of the toxic masculinity at that time
Hmm. Yeah.
to better understand. And even then when we were like for example like you're gay, I'm gay, oh my god, we're gay, it was just like that moment.
Yes.
It like even then we were still confused, but there was a sense, there was like a feeling of kind of like home, kind of
Mm.
like a feeling of belonging in a sense,
Gotcha.
where I'm not the only one who feels that way, and
Hmm.
that's someone who's literally 3 feet from me,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know and that's just a like it, the best way I can feel it is just I could be in a room and I'm the only minority. Okay. And then when
Yeah.
someone else walks in, you're like, oh, you kind of get excited, but you can't really show it, you
Yes.
know? But like deep down,
Exactly.
I've been a lot in a lot of those situations.
right.
Yeah.
But like deep inside, you're like, okay, we're fine. Okay, like you're just like, okay, we're fine. We're like literally in your head, everything is gonna be okay. You think, but it's not gonna
Yeah,
be horrible because you have someone relatable. At least you think it's just a sense of comfort.
yeah,
And growing up struggling, like, and uh, in a culture that doesn't believe in therapy, you
hmm,
know, um,
yeah,
Oh yeah.
like that's extremely hard, you
of
know,
course.
and it's hard for you to even trust people at that point because let's say if you want to like be vulnerable, they can like easily out you, you
Yeah,
know, and you're automatically shunned. So that's why I was saying like Little Nas X uh, is creating some kind of uproar, but at the end of the day, it's gonna get into someone's ear who's not feeling his best self because he's not able to express himself. And he doesn't have to express himself like Lil Nas X,
Mm-hmm.
but at least
hmm,
he's not alone in this world. And he could be 7, he could be 32, you know, like it
yeah,
comes at your own time.
yeah,
That's why I'm like really, again, before I was really against it because I couldn't understand like why, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
yeah.
just like pineapple in pizza, you're like, why would you do that? And you
Wait a
take a
minute
bite.
now. I like pineapple on pizza with
Okay,
the
up until
pepperoni.
Tina, up until last week, I was like, oh, this slaps, you know, like,
You gotta throw the
okay,
purpose in there. It
right,
just mixes.
low key good though, but it's
Yeah.
just that same thing. It's kind of like, and the reason why I'm bringing that up is I'm trying to like show people like how I can relate it to it. Not, it's not exactly the same way, but it's just
Yeah.
for you to give
So
you some kind of idea.
you initially felt different about him, you know, and I
Yeah, I
like
felt, yeah, I did. Like, I was
mhm,
like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Like,
Pretty much.
like I was like, I get it, you're gay, and
mhm,
but it's not. He's not doing this to be like it's a raining man. He's doing it. I truly feel like he's doing it because it's gonna get into like it's gonna make someone comfortable. It's gonna make someone um even comfortable secretly.
Yeah.
oh, I wish he's doing it for that, and I'm hoping he's doing it for that.
But
You
you
know,
don't.
not to match the first single because it's kind of unmatchable. You know,
Hmm.
it's like some people get to. Everybody can't be Beyonce and keep
Yeah.
hit after hit after hit after hit.
But
You know, so I'm hoping it's for that reason, and he's not using the community. That's what
Yeah.
I'm hoping. You
I
know.
hope. I don't feel like he is.
Mhm.
I I'm truly hoping he's not just using the community, like he's actually making some kind of change. But
Hmm.
I haven't seen any receipts otherwise, so
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Mhm.
kind of
So
remain.
Gotcha.
going back to Little Nas and the pregnancy, because that was one of the questions that I had. Do you think him portraying to be pregnant was disrespectful to women?
Disrespectful.
Hmm.
I'd like to know. To me, no, but I'd like to hear it from someone who felt disrespected, and I actually haven't met anyone who felt disrespected. You know, like
Yeah.
I would be
Like I
open to
said,
hear.
yeah,
I would be open to hearing like someone telling me if they were disrespected by it because truly I thought it was low-key hilarious. I first thought it
Yeah.
was a beer belly. I'm not gonna lie, because I was just like, why is why does he have a beer? But then it was just like he's pregnant, like his album is coming out, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yes.
and
This
like Tina had said, I spoke to someone who is a female lesbian, and that was one of her statements. You know,
Gotcha.
she as a lesbian thought it was disrespectful to
Hmm.
women.
I mean, oh, we lost Kareem again, but
Oh,
I'll put in my own opinion.
mhm.
Um, Me being a woman, I was definitely not disrespected. Why are we judging this? I don't understand. Um, to me, it was a form of expression. It was art. Now, is he taking it to the
right.
extreme? I think he's not done with his thought yet. And everybody has passed judgment, not knowing what the purpose is to him being pregnant. It's a stunt, no different than the next artist. Every artist has a stunt.
Mhm.
Some artists decide to do diss battles with each other. You know, some want to take it to the extreme. Lady Gaga, she wore a meat suit. What are we
Mhm.
talking about? You know, everyone has an agenda. And I
Mhm.
just think that he took this whole ideal of um, I'm a gay black man,
Mhm.
and you're going to hear me, you're going to see me, you're going to understand me.
Mhm.
And he then took his video and had sex with the devil. Now he's pregnant. So what is he giving birth
Would it
to?
have been better if this was on sci-fi? If his video played on sci-fi, and then it would be
Yeah,
like
like
it would have been like,
Kanye.
oh, he's being
Yeah,
creative. But the fact that this is
exactly.
like on MTV or VH1 or whatever, like it,
Yeah,
it's like it created like an uproar,
Mhm.
it
and that's
did.
just really like how I'm looking at it.
Mhm.
Am I like agreeing with it 1,000%? No,
Mhm.
but
Yeah,
recognize this obviously is not real, you know,
exactly.
and this like not everything on TV is real. Even art is like it's how you receive it, you know.
Yeah,
You might value a basketball painting,
Mhm.
okay, a certain way, and I value it a different way, you
Mhm.
know.
yeah,
It's the same idea because like, and again, I haven't met anyone who felt disrespected by it.
Mhm.
yeah.
I've heard people being disrespected by it, but
Mhm.
I am open to hearing like why they felt, because obviously like I'm sure he's not, well, I wouldn't say he's not trying to be disrespectful, but
Yeah.
in the whole pregnant man thing, I
Hmm.
don't think he's I don't think he's being disrespectful
Mhm.
or trying to be. I think, for
Yeah.
example, the whole devil is definitely more like a trigger than the whole
Mhm.
pregnant man thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Well,
that
I want to point out two things that um one, there are men who wear pregnant suits to identify with how women feel during pregnancy.
Mhm.
What's the difference?
Mhm.
And then two, I mean, I'm going to compare Little Nas X being pregnant to Kanye and his whole bird idea. The woman was dressed as a bird and they were serving turkey dinner.
Oh,
What the hell was going on in that video? Did we really take it to the extreme that Kanye is viewing women as birds? Like, who cares? It was a form of expression. Was it
right.
an odd form of expression? Yes. But again, we are passing our own judgment on the next person. Your ideas are not the same as mine, that are not the same as the next person's. Who
Mhm.
cares?
Hmm.
Mhm.
Who cares what you think if it's not making an impact on my life? Who
Mhm.
cares?
And I want to add, like, for example, when Ariana came out with God as a Woman and then made God a woman,
Mhm.
Yep.
that was her way of expressing what she felt God was. But
Mhm.
does it make it true? It could only be true to you if you make it true,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And
That's,
Agreed.
I didn't look at it like that, but that's true.
Yeah. I
there
mean,
wasn't like an uproar, you
yeah.
know?
Yeah.
What
I'm
about
pretty
that other
sure,
song? That other
huh?
song, God, what if God was one of us? What if God was a
Yeah,
slog? I
right.
mean, again, it was another form of expression. It had an uproar, but
Hmm.
it was just an opinion. Like maybe she was high one day and had a thought, like, yeah, what if God was just like us? Like,
The point of being creative. That's the point of being an artist, for
Mhm.
you to
yeah,
be able to express yourself or express whatever you want to express in that particular way.
exactly.
Um, it's not gonna be agreeable by everyone. Okay,
No,
if that was the point, then you wouldn't be a creative. You'd be a basic ass bitch.
Shoot.
pretty much. You know,
Oh,
I
shoot.
mean, we all have difference of opinions. We all like different things.
Mhm.
You know, I'm not into country. I'm not into heavy metal. I like the type of music that I like. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I might not be into documentaries, but I
Mhm.
like action films. You know, like it's all about preference. And again, that's why we are all individuals. We all have different ideals. We
Mhm.
identify with certain things that are out there that the next person may not identify with.
Mhm.
It makes us all human. We can be different. Just like the ocean is filled with different fish, we
Mhm.
can be different too. We don't have to all be the same. That would be
Wait,
a very boring civilization.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
Very boring.
what what do
Um,
you, what do you think about uh the whole Dwayne Wade decision with his child?
Okay.
Because I'm trying to tie this into uh sometimes, and it don't matter who it is, Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, Little Nas,
mhm.
is the sexualization of things, indoctrinating our children
Mm-hmm.
to be swayed to certain things.
Yes.
Even my child, if she's shaking the booty, going around here talking about wop 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 wop, you know, um, are they making decisions that are too strong for them to make at their age?
Um. So at the end of the day, as a parent,
Hmm.
you have the decision. Like you're capable of making the decision. But when it comes to like a child wanting to transition,
Hmm.
um, at first I was not okay with it,
Hmm.
but after meeting with some who happen to transition
Mhm.
and the psychological effect
Hmm.
that they had to go through, and everyone's environment like grew up differently, right? Just like not everyone
Mhm.
grew up in Florida, so you won't end
Yeah.
up as a Florida man. It's just like I can't imagine
Hmm.
like growing up and then feeling one way and you're just that way.
Mhm.
Do you get
Yeah,
what I'm saying? Like,
I do.
I can't imagine like growing up that. But let's say if I had a child and they were 7 years old and they're like, I feel like I'm a girl.
Hmm.
Mm.
Okay. I think the best approach by it is therapy
Hmm.
to um
Yeah.
smooth out that transition, not just okay, let's go to the mall and get you this pill. You know,
Yeah.
it's more like okay, why do you feel that way?
Mhm.
How long you feel that way? But those are, and not everyone's comfortable with a therapist or such, but I think
Yeah.
that's appropriate to happen before it actually happens as a child. It,
Mhm.
scientifically, well, it's best for you to transition um, from a child than as an adult because the hormones are less.
You said from a
Uh, I'm sorry.
Wait,
you said
what?
from a child it's best to transition
As
because
a child,
uh-huh.
like when we're speaking of transitioning, I'm speaking of like hormone therapy. Okay, not actually like surgically removing anything or adding anything to it yet.
Okay.
Um, so for hormone therapy, it's definitely best at a younger age, but I think it's appropriate after therapy or counseling
Hmm.
with the right
Mhm.
person.
I
Hmm.
agree
And
with that.
because I can't be a parent and then it would kill me as a parent to
Mhm.
I much rather have my child transition into whatever they want to transition to
Mhm.
and have them stuck and not be happy with themselves and then affect them in the long run at the end of the day because that's something that's going to affect you when you're 30, 40, 50, and then that's something you're always going to remember. And
Yeah.
then as a parent you're not necessarily going to remember it because why? You weren't the one feeling that way.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, they were the one feeling that way at that time, and It's going to affect their dating life. It's going to affect their social life. It's going to affect like their environment at the end in the long run, because you're going about your day, going to your 9 to 5, making sure they're going to school, but they're feeling that way at that
Mm-hmm.
particular time, and they can't even
Yeah.
express it with anyone else because they don't even feel comfortable expressing it with anyone else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For me, my opinion is a little bit different. I feel therapy is definitely the way to go.
Yeah.
But it's almost like my 16-year-old, she want to do certain things. And I'm like, no, you can't do it. Or even if she felt certain ways about certain things, we have to talk about it. But when you're 18 and you're off on your own set, then I feel you should be able to do different things. But as long as you're in the house, I'll support you. Don't get me wrong, I'll support you. And but
Mm-hmm.
you have to do therapy. I think 12. I think how old is Dwayne Wade's son? 12, 10, something like that.
Somewhere
About
around there.
I
Yeah,
think that's kind of young to be making lifelong decisions.
I
You know,
agree.
you just have to. You got to work
I
through that
agree too. I
somehow.
like partly agree, and but
Mhm.
I want to add, at 18, like, you know what you can do at 18? You can buy a gun, you can
Mhm.
like get a credit card, you can get into debt, but you can't
Mhm.
drink.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. So again,
Uh,
I want to say age, a particular age, like you're saying 12 and a half, 12 and 3/4. No, I'm
mhm.
saying how they're feeling at that moment, because
Mhm.
some people can't even drive at 25. Like
That.
some people are, some people like other countries, you could drink at 18.
Mhm.
At United
Mm-hmm.
States, you can't drink until you're 21.
Oh,
And
well,
Yeah.
I found that out when my son went to Greece. I'm
I,
like, he was on the
I,
plane talking, Mama.
I didn't, I was like, Mom, we're going on like on a high school trip. We were 18,
Yeah.
Mexico, got wasted, okay?
Yeah.
And I was like, never again. But look at me today. Yay.
You know. Too funny.
I just
Um,
it puts a lot of like there's things that I liked when I was in high school, and I'm saying in terms of guys that
mhm.
I changed around and didn't like at 20, and in my 30s it was like, what was I thinking? And in my 40s it's like, I am woman, hear me roar. What the hell was I thinking? you know?
Yeah.
So
But
it's I feel the therapy is definitely needed because you don't want someone like you said suffering
Hmm.
and how
correct.
from suffering, but to make such permanent life decisions at those young ages, I couldn't do it for my children. They would have to, when they get old enough to kind of
Yeah.
navigate a little bit for themselves, you know.
But that's
And you know
also
what?
where the
I
point we're
totally,
making. Go ahead.
I'm totally fine with your way of doing it too, because every household is different,
Yes.
like,
That's the
so
point I want to make.
it's
Mm-hmm.
just,
Yeah.
it's as long as you kind of like respect it and
Mm-hmm.
let them understand, hey, like, I'm not with the shits right now. you
Yeah.
know, like maybe in a couple years, but that's when I feel safe as a parent for you
Mm-hmm.
to, because I'm your parent. And not
Yeah.
everyone's gonna have a quinceanera. Like not everyone's gonna have like
No.
every culture and every family is different. So
Yep.
Correct.
it really is depend on the household. So like your household will have it handle it that way,
Yeah.
and like at the end of the day, she's gonna still have to take care of her chores.
Mm-hmm.
My household, like she's still gonna have to do her shit, and she could transition. Um,
Yeah.
would I would I be happy?
Mm-hmm.
No, not entirely, because um, I have this vision for this child. But let's not forget, when your parents had a vision for you, where are
Mm-hmm.
you today? Not their vision. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
that's true.
different. So, but
That's
you
true.
know that they were happy. They
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be
Correct.
sufficient. They wanted you to be independent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure my mom never thought about like transitioning when I was growing up.
Yeah.
Like,
You
take it from
know.
Haiti.
That
And
that
in like my culture, for example, they think gay men want to transition. Well, let me correct myself.
mhm.
They think gay men want to be girls,
Mm,
or they think gay men want to take their husbands primarily, and that's
mhm.
not true. And
Mhm.
like it's just like a stigma that they grew up learning, thinking that's what it is. And
Well,
I could
then
like
you have
speak
to, I want to interject there
huh?
because there are some people
Up to
that have a different agenda where there may be some gay men that want to take your husband, but that's just how, when there's a heterosexual person, they want to take that significant other also. So where, I mean, like, really, where's the difference? But I just had to put that in there.
um
Just
but
saying.
every household is different, like
Exactly.
if you choose to, that's up to you. But those there are consequences you're going to have to suffer with your household and your family, just like
Yeah,
every other family would have to suffer the consequences in the
correct.
future. And not to
Correct.
say you suffer like negative things. Your way might be positive,
Mhm.
my way might
Mhm.
be positive in my own way, but it's
Yeah,
whatever keeps the family functioning, I guess.
Yeah, because I
yeah,
always worry about my most important thing is the mental health. You know, the long effects afterwards, before,
yeah.
during. You know,
But
that's the main thing all the time is
but
how that would affect that.
that's your ideal.
Yes.
You have to remember
There's
that
other
what
people that.
you think may affect someone's mental health, the
Mhm.
next person may not. So um, I know we don't agree with such a young child making such an adult decision, but
Mhm.
everyone has to go with what their family is going through and what's right for them.
Mhm.
You know, I'll point out what I said in one of the past shows. I
Mhm.
was 4 and 5 years old,
Mhm.
telling my dad what he needed to do to be a parent. What
Mhm.
4 or 5 year old do you know that is able to think at that capacity?
Mhm.
So every family is different. Every person is different, and that's really what the purpose of bringing this whole topic up. Like, I want the audience to know there's no one way to think. There's no one ideal of this is what's best, this is not good.
Mhm.
You have to go with what works for you. And
Mhm.
we as a people need to be more open minded to
Mhm.
differences,
Oh yeah.
you know? Um, I want to interject again because we got hella comments in here that we've been ignoring. So we have to get to those because I don't like to ignore people. We
Right.
did say when we did this podcast, we're including the public, and I don't want them to think that they're not a part of this conversation.
Mhm.
Um, Pierre, you said a lot of comments that we're not going to talk about because this is a judgment free zone.
Period.
Mhm.
So there's a few that I'm going to skip over. I did say that at the top of the show if you were not here to view. Um, but he did say gay issues are not equal to Black people and their struggle because gay people, okay, I think he's trying to say because Black people were hung and gay people were not, but there are um, many reports of where gay men were beat to death. So there is a
Right.
comparison.
There's
Uh,
like for
Black
back in like
people.
slavery, for
Yeah,
example, like the term motherfucker was when the uh a slave would fuck his mother. Are we allowed to say fuck? We can't say fuck, right?
I don't know.
Okay, sorry.
We'll find out if we
Uh
get there.
are allowed to have sex with their mother. But to um emasculate the man, a slave owner would literally fuck that slave.
Mhm.
And then it became such a negative thing. It's
Yeah,
gonna get a lot deep, but I just don't.
I
um,
gotcha.
it just
It
became
became
like
a term.
I'm sorry.
But then it became a term, like a negative
It
term.
became like a term.
Hmm.
So it became such a negative thing to even like look at because of back of when slavery was a thing. Um it's just the reason why I'm laughing is because like a lot of these terminologies are somewhat relevant today because it
Hmm.
really stems from slavery.
I
And
gotcha.
over time it changes, just like the
Yeah.
gay lingo we were talking about earlier, or how
Hmm.
our great grandparents were like hot pockets back in the day, and
Yeah.
there's no evidence to them. There's only writings on the wall. But today we have
Yeah.
camcorders and like phones to read it, you know. So it's
Yes.
a lot more like more relevant because it's a lot more accessible to see. So
Yeah.
I
Well,
just want people to like open their minds to
correct.
not necessarily um not necessarily trying to change their minds, but to have a better understanding. um
Hmm.
like although like I saw someone relating to race and being gay, just like you don't see straight people holding flags of like, you know, but why would straight people hold their flags? They have their way, you know, like they're not
Yeah.
the
They were already winning.
they're already winning, you know, like it's not even about winning, it's about
I
equality,
know.
inclusive.
Listen,
No,
just a term that
right,
they're not having to prove anything.
right,
What they
because
do,
they
what heterosexuals do, is already acceptable because society said it's acceptable.
and the reason why we're even having this conversation is because
I
we
know.
want the exclusive, we want the inclusivity behind that,
Correct.
and it's
Correct.
just
Well, I mean, that's where Pierre was saying in the next thing that he said nobody's hating, just live your life and stop pushing
a little
this
hateful though.
down
Pierre,
our throats.
Pierre sounds like he's
Um,
from Haiti too, but
I, related. So yes,
yeah,
related.
related.
Um, so what I want to say to that is
Oh,
a lot of people are hating. And that's why we're having this topic. Again, we
can
are
I
not
what?
forcing, wait, hold on. We're not we are not forcing anything down anybody's throat, but neither is the gay community. They are not trying to force anything. They're trying to be accepted. And that's it. That's really what all this is about.
And
So
yeah.
yeah, and respected.
Hmm.
And that's why I brought the black movement into this, is because the black community was looking for acceptance and to be respected. So they had to make a voice for themselves. So it's really the same thing. Everyone wants to be heard. And we're not just saying it's only the gay community and it's only the black community. It's a lot of different communities. There is so much racism across the board. People just want to be people. That's really what it comes down to. So we're just talking one topic. There's so many topics that we
There's
can
so
talk
many, right?
about, you know.
Oh yes,
But wait, I still want to go through all the comments. I'm so sorry. I'm not trying to bully the conversation.
no, no, go ahead.
Um,
Someone mentioned I'm someone mentioned about like there are trans people who regret their decision for wanting to transition at such a young age. And again,
mhm,
those are consequences that you have to be aware about. I'm just adding to it, like those are consequences you have to be aware about. That's why I suggest counseling. Not
yeah.
everyone's able to afford counseling, but again, it really depends on the household. Okay.
Yes.
Just because one household has the funds for the counseling and the other household doesn't have the funds for counseling. But
Mm-hmm.
that's why I think counseling is also very appropriate. That way they are aware of the consequences
Hmm.
in the
Oh yeah.
future if
Yeah.
you regret it.
Well, yeah, that's where education comes in, because these topics are not so easily expressed. They're not so socially accepted.
Mm.
There are so many people who feel that they don't feel comfortable to talk about this, to
Mm-hmm.
become educated. Who do they go to? And I mean, that's where um, counselors should be put in place for those who cannot afford it. You
Mhm.
know, they included on social media about bullying, where bullying is not accepted, and now there's so many platforms that, Facebook bans things because of bullying.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we need to pay more attention to the gay community and give them more outlets and just accept that they could be different.
Yeah, I just
Um,
wish there were more outlets for people to talk to, like you said, with the counseling and stuff like that, or even in school. But I do find a lot of schools are offering. I know where we at are offering certain things for kids who want to express themselves to the school. You know,
that's
so
beautiful. That's
yeah.
beautiful. I
I,
wish that
I
would
think
be
like the
more across
idea
the
is
board. Mhm.
like that idea is great, but you also have to remember like not every school is um like good cop bad cop. Like every school has that kind of people too, you know. So as long as like it's like a
Yeah.
genuine approach, or it's um where I feel iffy with school.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
Hmm.
And I'm saying this because uh in my experience, I was in one school. Let's say it was like Springfield High. That was a bad school. They shut down. It was the counselor there. The counseling there was just horrible.
Yeah.
Okay, as opposed to the other high school I went to,
Mm-hmm.
like the counseling was okay, but the private school I went to, the counselor was superb. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so it really is like
Yeah.
kind of like depends on like the environment you really are in. So I
I gotcha.
every household is going to be different, and
I agree.
um,
I agree.
it should
And
always be respected
that's what
Mm-hmm.
should just
at
be
the end of the
accepted.
day.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's just like the same thing as disciplining your children. Every
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
household is different. So, what you're exposing your child to and what you're saying is acceptable with your child is your own business.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we can express our own opinions on
Mm-hmm.
how we feel within our own families,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't pass my opinion and judgment to the next family. I could, but it's not the right thing to do. Just saying, you know. I want to touch in on some more of these comments just because there's so many and we've been ignoring them. So, obviously, it is. Hi, Thomas. I'll say hi to you. Um, so we did talk about the whole pregnancy thing and if
Mm-hmm.
it was disrespectful. So yes, Pierre and Natoya have weighed in on their thoughts that it is disrespectful. Again, I just think it's a form of art. It is an expression. Not everyone's idea of art is the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
but when you have an agenda backing it, it serves a purpose. So there's been many artists across time that have expressed themselves in a way that was not socially accepted. To each his own. That's where the saying came from. To each his
mhm.
own. Um, Natoya said it was the devil's baby. I'm done. That's what
Oh,
it's supposed to be. I don't know what's coming out at the end. Was stay tuned. um, let's see. Yeah. So Pierre was saying about being a woman, complaining of giving birth and your periods, and a housewife. Um, listen, being a woman is real. But again, this man's expression of being pregnant, I really don't think he was getting into the nitty gritty and saying that, oh, it's just a pregnancy. We all know we all came from a woman. I mean, or let's really think about that. We all know the extremes of being pregnant. Again, everyone's believing that no one's taking it for face value. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really what this is here. Just take it for face value. It's no different than a joke being told. Are you going to really go hard and go serious with the joke being told? I don't know. I don't know.
I think
Um,
when it comes to like jokes, for example, can
yeah.
I? Do you mind if I add to it? Um,
Um, Go ahead.
I think like when it comes to like jokes, someone's gonna like someone's going to get offended, and it it's really about how you even take it too. So like uh, I, I for example, I hear a trans joke from Dave Chappelle and I'm laughing, but I'm over here like, oh my God, this is horrible. I shouldn't be laughing. But that's the point of the joke. And if someone was talking about the Haitian community and joking like that, I probably would even be more offended,
Yeah.
like, and I have to like keep my mind open that, for example, now bringing the Dave Chappelle up. I'm saying he was expressing his own art, and either you get it or you don't. And
Yeah.
do I agree with it entirely? No, I
Yeah.
don't. But like, if
He's a genius, though.
he
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
he he
But
is in
that's
his own
comedy.
way,
Comedy is an
because
act.
no one else is actually doing it like him. But
Yeah.
for example, I was thinking like, oh, I see, like, I this is really bad, but when I see old people falling up the escalator, I just end up like dying inside. But it's wrong.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
horrible, right?
Yeah.
But it's not funny, but you still find it funny. It's the
Well,
same
of course.
thing.
I think it's when it
You're,
starts to get you to think,
yeah.
because things are funny, we laughing at it, but I want to think about it too. Like he did a
Hmm.
joke in one of his series, and he says, "Oh, don't think the LGBTQ community is not segregated." And he had an
Hmm.
example of them riding in a car. He
Yeah.
said, "The gay man, this person is here, this person is here, and the trans is way in the back." They like, "Don't shut up. You don't gotta say this."
God,
So it's
Exactly.
not making you think about the different treatment with
Yeah.
even within the community. And then he started
Exactly.
making you think when he said one other joke where he was dancing with the trans guy all night, dancing with him, feeling on the city, everything. Right?
Yeah. Right.
He says, uh, so then at the end of the night, I guess he told him, well, we were sitting there dancing. Why didn't you just tell me? I still would have felt your titty. It's like, but
Yes.
it made people laugh and it made people think. I like even when they say, and I looked at one of the comments from Pierre when he was like, it's not okay to say faggot, but people still say nigga in comedy
Yeah.
jokes.
when said
Yeah.
is okay.
But
Mhm,
I'm not for nothing. I don't think either one is okay.
mhm,
But it's all in viewing. Are you giving the word power?
mhm,
Are you giving the word meaning?
mhm,
When a black person says the N word, I'm sorry,
mhm,
I'm not a fan of it. I ain't saying it.
mhm,
But um, you know, when a black person says it, it's acceptable, but when a white person says it, it's not.
mhm,
In the gay community, if you use that derogatory word, it's acceptable, but if a straight person uses it, it's derogatory. I
mhm,
don't, I mean, who's giving the word power? We're giving the word power.
mhm,
I
mhm.
mean, don't get me wrong. Obviously, there's a history behind each word. There's
Oh
a
yeah.
history where
Mhm,
it was used as a derogatory sense.
mhm,
Uh, there were people who, again, society is saying this is right,
mhm,
you are wrong. And they've taken these words and gave them power and gave them meaning. And we, as a community, continue to support it
mhm,
today. Why are we continuing to support it? Why are we continuing to give it power?
mhm.
Why? Yes. Oh, you were just saying yes. Okay,
And-
Oh,
good.
yeah.
I thought you were raising your hand. I was like,
No, no, no,
yes,
no, no. Freeze, freeze. But
sir.
it's true.
Oh.
Like I'll like tell you like a little. I haven't really shared this with many people, but I'm sure many of you are watching today. So
Yeah.
here's one. I remember growing up. Like I finally accepted me being gay. That I was calling myself a faggot, and
Mhm.
then only to beat the person to think they can call me a faggot, that I wouldn't get offended. So like when someone was like, "Are you gay?" I'm like, "No, I'm a faggot." And I like today I know that's wrong, but
Mhm.
it really beat them to the punch because they think they can call me a faggot. And then when they do try to call me a faggot, I'm not phased by it. Then they try to find another word, and
Mm.
it's
Yeah.
sorry, I'm riding on that bus, like good luck,
Mhm.
And the same,
Exactly.
like again, I was raised in Haiti, and when I was called a nigger, I was just like, I remember the first time I was called a nigger, I was just like, okay, like
Mm.
sure, and everyone was like,
Sure.
like all gasping, like for air. It's like, aren't you offended? I'm like, why? And it wasn't
Yeah.
until I learned where it was coming from, I was like, oh, you want to talk about mothers, It's like, I
Yeah.
like you said, you don't give it power unless you actually give it power.
Yeah,
Correct.
that's true
But
too.
Correct.
I don't condone any of those words anyway. They're just hateful,
Yeah.
and like,
Exactly.
why even want to be hateful? And
Hmm.
today I see that people are projecting and they are angry about something in their lives to bring it onto you, and hurt people. But I
Correct.
want to bring the attention back to Dave Chappelle. Just like
Hmm.
every Jamaican song is about like Batsy Boy and Bumbleclan and all of that.
Yeah.
Um, and it's obsessive, like you don't like you don't like gay men, but you're like, it's in your music forever and your creative art. It's just like Dave Chappelle. Like, I'm like, you're a little obsessive with the trans community. Like, you don't have to make every every segment you had about, like, not entirely about, but it has to be. But at the same time, if he spoke about the Holocaust and made it a joke, it would have been a totally different story. Totally
Mm.
story.
Well, certain
Yeah.
communities are more susceptible to cancel out culture.
Well,
Yeah.
If you talk about the Jewish community, you're getting canceled out.
right.
Yeah.
But even the gay community, look at Kevin Hart. He said something years ago.
Hmm.
What I don't even know. People say things. I might say something now, and then 10 years ago, 10 years later, it's like, oh, okay, well, I didn't mean this by it. So
Yeah.
sometimes for me with the cancel out culture, even when it comes to women,
Hmm.
Me Too stuff, you
Yeah.
know, it's sometimes too obsessive, too much, you know.
Yeah. I get it.
Mhm.
I get it.
Um,
Um, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. I don't. It's not a major point. I was just gonna say, like the whole cancel culture. It's only apparent because it's in a world that we make it for us to believe in. Like, at the end of the day,
Hmm.
Twitter, like Dave Chappelle's Twitter isn't real. We make it real. Like,
Yeah.
like we make it real. And
Mhm.
like,
Exactly.
I every other day I literally think about if white chicks came out today,
Yeah.
like what kind of cancel would that be?
Well,
Mm.
You
you got to look at Ellen. When Ellen first came out, uh, I mean, she did the show for a good while, and then they wind up canceling it. But
Well,
then
when
they
she
did
came
one
out.
better than ever.
Yeah.
right.
You know.
You know?
I
Some
mean,
people,
go ahead. Go ahead.
some people were already out, like Wanda Sykes, but sometimes I do think race
It took a minute for her.
culture is different.
Yes.
You know,
Race does plays a part in it as well. Where
Hmm.
and especially in Hollywood, it's all about appearance and like if you look approachable in that sense. So
Yeah.
um like the moment I saw Wanda Sykes, I'm like, she's a lesbian. And then like she didn't come out for like a good minute.
hmm
And
but everybody in
when
the circle knew though.
everybody in the circle, but it wasn't even talked about because she was like a woman,
Yeah,
you know.
that's
But finally, when she came out, it was kind of like, okay, can he pass the ketchup, like type of thing. Like we've been new, um, as opposed to you have these athletes who want to come out and they can't because their life is in jeopardy. Just like football players who want to come out and
yeah.
they can't because you have those who happen to be homophobic, and they're gonna
Mhm.
make it a point to give him a tackle because
Yeah.
he's gay, you know?
I do think it's
So
different for men, you know.
it's definitely harder for men
Mhm.
because of the stigma behind it. And no thanks to like women too, because I would say like you see two beautiful men together, okay?
Mhm.
And the first thing that comes out, well, not entirely, but the first thing that comes out of women's mouth is like, damn, like, oh, he's with him. Who's the top? Who's the top? Who's the bottom? Or like, who's the girl? Who's the boy? Little quotes like this, like, oh, so they're gonna take all the fine niggas. And mind you, you have a woman looking like that and thinking like she was gonna land either of them at any given day, but she's disregarding the fact that these are two men who find each other attractive and who love each other, but
Mhm.
you want to make it about yourself.
I think people do that in general though, because like you say, you might see the bodybuilder guys, and then you look over to his wife, and you be like, "What?" you know?
No, like okay, for example, like like there there are some like I've definitely run across like certain people who it was questionable. I'm like, how did this happen? You
Yeah.
know? Or and that's with everyone.
Mm-hmm.
But the it doesn't help with the stigma behind, let's say, women,
Mhm.
okay, where they see two men together and it's like a hateful thing, as opposed to when you see two women
Yeah.
together and it's like, oh, it's fine. You know, like it's not a it's a bigger deal when it's like two men involved when two women. And to be honest, I don't know why. And I
Yeah. I
um
mean, the whole thing is, again, everyone's always pushing their own opinion. Um, I there's so much negativity that comes from behind pushing your own opinion because you are judging the next person with your own personal views. Again, we need to be more, we as a people need to be more focused on ourselves and
mhm.
the lives that we're living and stop worrying about how the next person is living. Uh,
Yes.
there's so much hate. This hate has to come from somewhere. So, is there a jealousy? Is there, like, you think that, it's all about, just like you said before, we're making it all about ourselves.
Hmm.
You can't
Like,
make everything about yourself. I mean,
yep.
there's millions and billions of other people in the world. You are not the only person.
Yeah. But me, I don't want no hate. I just want everybody to love who they want to love,
Right.
Exactly.
and to be
But you
true
want
to
it in
people,
private.
huh?
You
And
want it in
private.
private.
That's the
Which is fine.
problem.
We can respect it for sure.
I
That's
don't care
the
who it is.
problem.
Like, if I seen, I don't care who it is. If I seen two heterosexuals, two gay people, and they're in the street and look like they need a room, I don't want to see that from nobody. But
Yeah.
my thing is, I want it doesn't have to be in private. You know, people like I said, if I would have seen, I would have preferred to see Lil Nas with a cute guy, holding hands, whatever, doing what he doing. You
But
know.
Yeah.
you know what you make it seem like, to be very honest?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
You make it seem like gays gays are literally out there just tonguing each other
Well,
as opposed to like heterosexuals are like I've seen more PDA of heterosexuals that are more inappropriate
I don't like seeing that either.
than
Yeah. I don't like seeing it at all in
My
public.
thing
I
is,
don't either. I
I
think
just
there's a
don't
time and place for everything.
think
Yeah.
But
for the gay
um
community, and what I don't like him promoting some of the promiscuity is because of the fact that that was the image of gay people from even when AIDS came out. It's always only the gays that get AIDS because they out here and they doing this and they doing that and they doing
Yeah.
that.
Misconception.
To me is like when I see, for one, I think he's gimmicky, but
Mhm.
yes, we got to see that receipts. We're gonna see the. If
right.
I'm trying
And
not to judge until I see the receipts, but it makes me think. I don't want people to think of gay people as promiscuous. I want
Yeah.
them to think of people that, hey, I'm with somebody I love. I'm with somebody I want to be with.
Right.
Not,
Mm-hmm.
oh, we out here doing this. And that's the projection. Just like when you see certain rap videos and you think all the girls is wearing hoochie shorts and this and this and that. But I don't want that image that when I go to a club, I ain't going to no club. I don't, clubbing days is over.
Yeah.
But when I used to go to a club, because I have on a mini skirt, it's okay to touch my butt.
Mm.
You know, don't slap my butt because we're gonna have a problem.
Right.
So
Aries
it's
off and
just
everything.
my thing is the perception of the things, you know. And when he does certain things, like true, I love Little Richard. What Babaloo Bam Bam Boom, and he got his and he doing his thing, and he tutti fruity and doing all that kind of stuff. That's
Exactly.
a real song, tutti fruity. It's a real song. I'm making that up.
Yeah.
You know,
We
so,
told you Google it.
That's funny.
so I don't mind that. But what Little Nas is doing is you already escalating something that was already thought.
Yeah.
You know, it was already thought this is what people do. This is what they out here is you escalating it. I don't see what are you doing to help the community? What are you actually doing but putting money in your pocket?
Well, you
I
don't
know what
know
Yeah.
Elton John
what
is doing. I know what Wanda Sykes is doing. I know what Ellen is doing. But what is you doing? Let's see
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't
what
have to
you do
advertise
with the
it. He
next
could like
album.
be privately about it. Like not
Mhm,
like just I feel like those who advertise it are the ones to really watch out for.
mhm,
Mm.
Because like if I feel like if you really do care about uh a community or
mhm,
you're helping out a charity, let's say,
mhm,
and you privately donate,
mhm,
that's one thing as opposed to saying I donated 40,000 for this charity because now it
Yeah.
seems like you're boasting what you did and you want to be perceived as a good person for this particular charity when
mhm.
someone is actually doing it privately.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think it's so much about the charities. I'm just saying, as a community of
As a
whole,
community, I get
yeah,
that.
when you
Right.
see
I
So
Ellen,
he
when I
was
see Ellen,
comparing.
I think of success. I think of Grace. When I see Wanda, I'm like, that's a classy lady, you know. But when I see her, I don't see that. I see something else. When I see Elton John, and Elton John wear his stuff now. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
He have a little something on. When I see Billy Porter, I don't think the same thing. And Billy Porter is letting you know, hey, I'm about the ballroom. Do her. I'm out here. But it's a different feel from those people than it is from Little Nas. You know.
Yeah. But you got to remember, in any society and in any community, you're going to have people that hold themselves of a certain stature,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're going to have the other people
Mm-hmm.
that are a little bit more extreme and
yes,
ruthless about their approach.
right.
Again, that brings us back that not everybody's the same. And again, so many people push their own opinion or ideal of what everyone should be like. There's no ideal type of person.
Mm-hmm.
Like not
There's
everybody's
not.
Cardi B and not everybody's Alicia Keys.
Yeah. I mean, and it agreed, but and it goes across the board. It's not only just with sexuality, it's
Hmm.
also politics. It's
Mm-hmm.
among, you know, everywhere. There's people that hold themselves
Mm-hmm.
in your for you to say in a classy way, and
Hmm.
then there's some people who hold themselves in a ratchet way.
That's true.
I mean, it just is what it is. You associate with what you identify with,
Mm-hmm.
and that's all we're looking to do is allow people to express themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Some should not have to be so expressive.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need a megaphone. You can talk with a regular voice. But I think, there's some people who talk with a megaphone, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
all day, 24/7.
Right.
But, again, that's the point of this whole podcast. Simply, we're out here. I mean, I see some of the comments. Listen, nobody's pushing their agenda. This is just
Mm-hmm.
bringing awareness to a topic. That's
Mm-hmm.
it. Um,
Like,
we as a people again need to be more open-minded. Why are we so close-minded? Why do we have to be so negative against something that's different? We are all different.
Mm-hmm.
we're
I,
different in our own way, and
yeah.
some more than others because you weren't exposed to that.
Mm-hmm.
And I truly feel like at the end of the day, if it's not hurting you physically and it's not interrupting you getting in your bag, then it shouldn't matter. Like me
Yeah.
minding my business, dancing in the club, having a good time with my friends
Hmm.
should not be a point of you thinking I'm trying to do a Beyonce routine and trying to land a guy who's not even in my mind. I'm literally minding my business and having a
Yeah.
great time. First of all, do you know how hard is it for you to have 4 friends to go out as an adult on the same schedule? And you think I'm gonna be thinking about some guy at the bar? That's like
Wait,
I'm
you
not
have 4 friends? You know, our circles as you get older get smaller.
good smaller, right? Now I have a teddy bear. But it's like true. It's just like let alone it's hard for you to get family members together, like
Yeah.
the people you love together to have a good time. And you think like me being extra and having a good time with my loved ones, you think I'm trying to land your man who I haven't even made eye contact with.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
you know like, it's not happening, boo boo. I'm drinking my Long Island. Okay, thank you.
Hilarious.
But
Oh, I mean, I don't know.
It's been a long
Um,
talk.
this was a long talk. Yeah. I mean, again, I appreciate everyone for coming out and listening and
Mhm.
participating. Again, just meant to be a friendly conversation. And if we opened somebody's mind today to just being a little bit more accepting of something that may be different from how you live your life, then this is a success. And that's all that we were looking for, an educational piece to give you a different perspective in life. So try to be kind to
yeah.
those around you, whether you know them or not,
Mhm.
because you don't know what the next person is going through. Your struggle is not the same person, the next person's struggle. So be kind and open minded.
And
All
love
right.
for hate.
Yes. Yes.
Like at the
Much
Love.
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 could do
Um,
for sure.
what, what's that?
Now I'm saying at the end of the day, we all could use some loving one way or another, and for
Yes.
sure, because you don't know what the next person is going through. It might not even be gay, straight related. It could be like
Yeah.
something else, and they just need that moment to be vulnerable with someone. You don't
Agreed.
necessarily have to agree with it, but
Mhm.
No.
as long as you're kind of respectful, then
Respect. That's all we're looking for.
mhm.
Yes. All right. Well,
Yeah.
I want to thank everybody who came out and watched.
I want to
Again,
meet Natoya.
Natalia seems fun.
Yeah.
So, thank you both. I appreciate your opinions. I love the conversation, and hopefully, you guys tune in next week. We'll share our next topic at the end of this weekend.
And
Yeah.
thanks for having me, guys. Truly,
Yeah.
Oh, we love having you. You got
really
to
Thank
appreciate.
you
come
so much
again.
for joining.
I actually learned a lot with this conversation. From like your point of view, because like I'll even as open as I try to maintain and try to receive, sometimes you
Mhm.
can kind of block out like another point of view you're not even privy to unless someone actually
Mm.
mentions it.
Mhm.
And Keisha, like you opened like a lot of like good points that I really appreciate you expressing and letting me know. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. So, and you as well,
That's a win.
some things that I was like, oh, I didn't look at it like that.
Yes.
But
Each
definitely
one, each
grateful.
one, teach one.
Yes,
That's
Yeah.
what
yes.
it comes down to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alrighty.
All
Bye.
right, guys. Until Until next time,
Till
Yes.
next
y'all
time.
be good.
All righty.
Take care, guys.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.